We're recording.
Meeting, please come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Levine, Funderburk, Berard, and Vasquez present.
Thank you. This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. Before going into our open agenda, Councilor, did you have a recommendation or a request?
I did, Mr. President. I would request at this time that we take item 7, closed session, out of order and recess into closed session at this point, and then we will reconvene back in open after closed.
Do we need a motion?
No, we can just go ahead and do it, and then.
So let me just announce that we will go into closed session at this time. Hopefully, we'll complete the closed session expeditiously, and we'll then return. So at this point, we'll recess into closed session. Thank you.
We're recording.
Yes?
We're recording. We are recording.
Meeting, please come to order again. I apologize for the surprise closed session announcement, but the good news is the closed session has been done. I have no opening remarks. We have 7 general public comment cards, so Yvette, please call those 7 speakers.
Okay, the first speaker is Dale Osborne. After that will be Simon Jackson. And please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Well, first, I'd like to thank the Commission for recommending and supporting the Owens River Water Trail project. It's going to have a big impact on adaptive paddling in California as well as neighboring states. I'm a volunteer for Team River Runner, a nonprofit which for the past 13 years has been helping active duty soldiers and veterans heal through participation in water sports, mostly kayaking. We now have 65 chapters nationally, including 2 in California. Water-centered adventure activities are very therapeutic for wounded warriors who have suffered both physical and mental trauma they incur in war. Our San Diego chapter has 3 paddles per month, 2 for patients of Balboa Medical Center and 1 for veterans. Patients from Balboa typically have traumatic brain injury or post-traumatic stress and attend our paddles with a physical therapist as part of their recovery process. Our veteran participants are referred to us primarily through the La Jolla VA, which is responsible for the health care of almost 250,000 veterans and recognizes the benefits of adventure water sports. Veterans can bring family, other veterans, and friends, and we get wonderful feedback from our participants. Team River Runners monthly paddles provide veterans and active duty soldiers the benefits of recreating in a healing environment, but they get the most satisfaction from helping their fellow veterans. For this reason, Team River Runner has developed a leadership training program which provides the platform and opportunity for veterans to reach out and serve the veteran community. This not only gives them a great deal of satisfaction and sense of accomplishment, but also ongoing opportunities to socialize and contribute to the welfare of other veterans. A leadership clinic is typically a week-long program conducted in a remote location with needed facilities nearby and appropriate water facilities. The Owens River Water Trail will be ideal for Team River Runners' national leadership training courses due to its safe, controlled, and peaceful kayaking environment in a relatively remote but easily accessible and affordable area. It will also become a great destination for veteran individuals and groups to enjoy. I have a brief letter here from our headquarters for the national organization, which has 65 chapters.
You can submit the letter.
Submit the letter.
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Water-based adventure experiences can be life-changing for veterans, and this project can offer that. Simon Jackson, who's with me, attended our leadership training course several years ago and is now one of the safety kayakers for our regular paddles in San Diego. He can tell you how much this program has meant for him.
Thank you very much.
You can hand the letter to the security officer and he'll bring it up to us. Thank you. Okay, the next speaker is Simon Jackson, and after that, Blanca de la Cruz.
Hey guys, my name's Simon Jackson. I'd like to say thank you for actually backing this project with the environmental portion. Getting out on the water has been so life-changing for me. Before going out, I was extremely overweight, never left my home for anything but doctor's appointments. Getting out on the water has been so life-changing for me, my family, them getting to see me on equal footing as everyone else. It's so amazing. It's no way you could possibly know unless you go through it. I can't even remember what I wrote. I guess I'm done.
Well, what you said is very powerful and very, very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Blanca de la Cruz, and after that, Scott Chen.
Good morning. I am Blanca de la Cruz, Sustainable Housing Program Director with California Housing Partnership Corporation. I'm here to announce the convening of the Citizens Committee for the selection of the Executive Director of the Office of Public Accountability. I have the honor of being appointed by Mayor Eric Garcetti to serve on this committee and participate in this important civic decision. On behalf of my fellow committee members, I want to invite the Board of Commissioners and the public to the first meeting of the Office of Public Accountability Citizens Committee. This is a special meeting set for Thursday, November 9th at 2 p.m. at City Hall, 200 North Main Street, room 1060. I brought some agendas that I will leave here if anyone cares to take one. I invite the Board of Commissioners and the public to provide input. My fellow committee members and myself are very interested in hearing from you. And as you know, the Office of Public Accountability and its ratepayer advocate function was created by public vote in 2011. And we look forward to hearing from everyone's input. And I especially look forward to working with my fellow citizen committee members to produce a recommendation that has broad public support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Scott Chen, and after that, Lynn Chen.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. I'm here to speak also on the Owens River Water Trail. First, I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for their support of this project, especially we'd like to thank Commissioner Noonan for offering to underwrite the environmental review in last February's INEO Los Angeles Standing Committee meeting. My name is Scott Scher. I'm the Director of Education with LA River Expeditions. We are the first kayaking outfitters on the Los Angeles River. However, we've also been following this project pretty much since its inception, and we feel it offers a very valuable amenity to Californians. As you've heard from some potential users, we feel it has a lot of benefits that it presents. It's come to our attention that funding for the project may be delayed. We understand that about $610,000 of funding have been secured, and there is an environmental consultant that's been lined up to conduct that. However, there seems to be some communication breakdown that's currently stalling the project. So we're here today to ask the Board of Commissioners to look into this and to please expedite the project to make sure that funding gets through before the time runs out on it. That's it. Thank you again for your support of the project.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Lynn Chair.
Good morning. I'm Lynn Scher. I'm a lifelong resident of Los Angeles and a DWP customer since I was old enough to pay my own bills. I was fortunate enough to go last summer up to Lone Pine for a community input meeting with a representative from the California Natural Resources Board. I was impressed with the diversity and the variety of groups that are behind the Owen River Trail project. I saw a great need for it, and when we actually went to the site, I was blown away by what is possible and what could possibly be a prototype for other states around our country. The indigenous people had their reps there, so it looked like not only a wonderful thing for students and veterans, but as an educational tool for people that might not even be interested in water but might learn about it. So, as stated by Scott Scher, I understand this is a time-sensitive issue, and I'm encouraging the Commission to try and get DWP to expedite the promised funding to get this moving. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have two speakers from up in Bishop. The first speaker is Mark Bagley, and then after that, Richard Potashin.
Hello. Thanks for this opportunity to address you and for your past support for the Owens River Water Trail, which I'm here to speak about. I've lived in Bishop for 32 years, and I'm the volunteer Sierra Club representative in the 1997 MOU that settled 25 years of litigation between Inyo County and LA. The Sierra Club has been supportive of this project early on, we wrote letter of support to the California for the grant that the county has secured, $500,000 grant. We think this is an excellent project and it helped meet one of the goals of the Lower Owens River project, which is to provide enhanced recreational opportunities along the river. This water trail project was originally brought to the county by the Wounded Warriors program in the Eastern Sierra. They were looking for places to get disabled vets on the water. And this is an offshoot of the recreation plan developed by the county for the Lower Owens River project. Now, the county has secured this $500,000 grant quite some time ago, but the grant funding is dependent on the City of Los Angeles approving the project because it occurs on city land. And it's been the DWP's position that this would require an EIR before this city could grant, or DWP could grant approval. And after some time, we were pleased that in February of this last year, that at the INYO LA Standing Committee meeting, that LA DWP agreed to fund the environmental work for this project. But there's been a lot of time that's elapsed since then, and funding has not been forthcoming yet. The county has approved a contract with ESA, an environmental contractor, that has been doing the environmental work on the Owens Lake Dust Project for DWP. This approval was in September, nearly 2 months ago. But that approval was pending funding from DWP to pay for that. The county had expected that their grant funding would pay for the environmental for this, but since they can't get the grant until they get the approval from DWP, that's what's brought us to this position, and we really appreciate your board agreeing to pay for the environmental. However, this is time sensitive. In order to get going and to be able to use the grant before the funding time period runs out, this needs to get worked on soon, very soon. So I'm here to urge your board to see what you can do to expedite movement on getting this funding approved. We appreciate your past support and think this is really a wonderful project and hope it happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Richard Potterson, and after that, Randy Short.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. I'm representing the Owens Valley Committee in relationship to the Owens River Water Trail. The Owens Valley Committee has been an ardent supporter of the Owens River Water Trail from the outset. The project, as you've heard, has enjoyed an outpouring of support from diverse communities throughout the state, including Los Angeles and Owens Valley, from Boy Scouts, Wounded Warrior communities, tribal environmental organizations. All these folks envision the potential this project has to bring constituents and ratepayers from both areas closer together for spiritual, recreation, fun, and healing. Healing the wounds of battlefield conflicts and 100-year-old water wars. This project could usher in a new era of cooperation between Owens Valley and Los Angeles that we've been hearing about from DWP and city leaders for years. The Owens Valley Committee believes that the Owens River Water Trail would be a huge step toward realizing the goals of the Lower Owens River project, one of which Mark mentioned, developing recreation along a restored river corridor, while also providing additional economic opportunities to towns in the southern Inyo County area. The committee also feels that clearing a 6.7-mile stretch of river will also improve flows in the lower river while supporting the goals of adaptive management as stated in the Lower Owens River project. The Owens Valley Committee wants to commend LADWP for stepping forward and offering to fund a CEQA review of this project. Inyo County has approved the signing of a contract and a consultant is ready and waiting to commence CEQA. Now is not the time to drop the ball on this project when the necessary funding for the Owens River Water Trail is within our grasp. The Owens Valley Committee acknowledges DWP's concerns regarding this project, but believes these concerns can be adequately addressed and hopefully mitigated during the CEQA process. Let's not torpedo the project before it even pulls out of port. We need the LADWP to jump on board ASAP so the environmental review can proceed in a timely manner and clear the way for the real work of river clearing to begin hopefully next year about this time. Getting behind this project instead of in front of it would be a great public relations windfall for LADWP, who has supported numerous community service projects in the Owens Valley. To summarize, the Owens Valley Committee urges the Board of Water and Power Commissioners to do the right thing, and that is support this project and make sure that DWP staff, particularly the local office in the Owens Valley, are on board and working diligently to implement this project and steer it toward a successful outcome. The communities of the Owens Valley and its Owens River have sacrificed much for the growth of Los Angeles. Let the city return the favor and express its gratitude by supporting this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Randy Short.
Mr. President, Commissioners, Mr. Adams, my name is Randy Short. I'm here representing the Eastern Sierra Waterways Project. The project was started by the most prominent visionaries in the Eastern Sierra, including Dave McCoy, who built Mammoth Mountain Ski Area, Dick Knoll, Archelaris, amongst others. The project brought to the county the concept of a Wounded Warriors paddle trail in the calm and calming waters of the Owens River. The vision was this would be a healing place for those who have given so much to our country. I was there in Los Angeles 8 months ago to appear before the Standing Committee to explain to you, as a leader of men in combat in Vietnam, that I knew how important a place like this would be to those veterans and the newer vets returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. I want to commend Commissioner Noonan for her compassionate comments then and leadership, allowing the Standing Committee to approve the funding for the environmental work required for the project. The balance of the funding for the project has already been awarded by the state. I'm here today to ask you to follow up on that approval and ask staff to provide the approved funding immediately, or the project will be delayed for a year and jeopardize the state's funding. It has been 8 months, and the money the Standing Committee approved has yet to be funded. Please move forward now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was our last speaker card for item 2.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move to General Manager report. Madam, I thought Donna was doing it on Marty.
Thank you. We have a few things to note, mostly some presentations and good news we'd like to share with the board. I'd like to first turn over to Neil Guglielmo, who has a presentation regarding the summer shift program with the LAUSD. This is a critical program that the power system put in place a couple years ago to reduce demand on very hot days in response to concern about potential power outage or gas shortages and such. So Neil, go right ahead.
Thank you, Marty. Good morning, commissioners. With us in the audience, we have representatives from LAUSD here. So I'm going to go through a relatively short presentation, and then we have a very nice check to present to them. So with that, I would like to acknowledge the leadership and the support that both financial services and power system have received from this board. When we look at all the challenges that we face and the operational issues we face day to day, this board has always stepped up and provided great leadership for us. So the staff in financial services and power system worked diligently over the last 2 years to come up with numerous opportunities for customers to reduce their demand on our system. And this is one of those programs which also has a financial incentive for those participants. Again, it's intended to maximize that flexibility for our system for in-basin plants, maximize use of alternative fuel sources. It's one of our complementary programs for overall demand response. And we've had this program in place now for the summer of 2016 and 2017 and we look forward to this program again. Much success in upcoming in 2018. So as you look at the graphic there, I think just what's important to note is we look at our critical peaks on a hot day, let's say in the summer, and we'll see those critical peaks hitting between, say, 1 and 5 p.m., especially if we look at the hours of 3, 4, and 5 p.m. It gets relatively challenging for us, for our system, to meet the demands that are placed by a lot of ACs going on, those great TVs. I wish I had one in my front room. All those things that are using all that energy. And so what we're looking at is how do we shift off of those really critical peaks, either using that, moving that demand earlier or later, or finding ways just to reduce the overall demand. So again, it's a little bit hard to see the graphic, but you'll see a red line and a blue line and some arrows. And what this really demonstrates is the before and after the load shifting. So without the load shift is that blue line. You can see it reaches higher up at those peak hours. And the arrows point down to that red line, which is with the load shift program, here's how we reduce that load and that consumption. And we've actually shifted it earlier too. If you look at that red line, it actually is higher than the blue line earlier periods of the day. So what is summer shift? Essentially, it's an energy load shifting program, and it was designed to enhance our reliability given constraints we have during the summer months. We have energy contracts we sign with participating large commercial customers, industrial customers, and that is a $10 per kW per month incentive. Again, we're looking at the periods of 3 to 5 p.m. We're trying to shift or reduce from those periods. And the first year was July, August, and September of 2016. And this most recent year, we had actually June added as well. So June, July, August, and September. Various options are available for our participants, whether it's shifting or reducing AC, setting those temperatures for a little bit higher range, switching out lighting, shifting hours of production. The implementation plan is there as well. Essentially, again, it's how do we measure that reduction or shifting of that load for those participating customers. So the results. The results have been outstanding for the program. In 2017, this most recent summer, we had 14 large commercial customers representing roughly 140 accounts that participated with us. They partnered with us in this effort. And we provided over $108,000 in incentives, close to a 50 megawatt peak demand reduction. So great results for 2017. 2016, our first year, was even greater. We had 23 large commercial customers, over $300,000 in incentives, and close to 100 megawatts of peak demand reduction. So as we look towards 2018, again, it's how can we reach out to those customers and increase towards that first year's success?
Why was it less?
I think there was a lot of press regarding the constraints with Aliso Canyon, potential for outages and such, and there was a great demand and willingness on behalf of all of our partners to participate in the program then. And as we look towards 2017, there just wasn't as much in the press about Aliso and such. And I think that with 2016, we really maintained a very reliable system for our customers. We didn't have those outages that were really a concern. And so I think given that, maybe some other reasons, we saw a dip in participation. But with that said, the demand reductions we're seeing are still significant, especially given the amount of the incentives that we're paying for that.
And if I can, it also, we basically call a day ahead of time for this. And so it may be that we didn't call as often in the 2017. It also has to hit the businesses in a day that they can make adjustments on. So there's a number of kind of moving factors on the ground, but we do want to continue to push the program to get it as broadly accepted as possible.
Neil?
Yes.
Do we have specific data on Los Angeles School District?
So we do have data for LAUSD, and we're actually, that's one of our slides coming up, is on the LAUSD participation. Great question, though. You got me early. So as we look towards the overall results, I think To try and put this into perspective, when we look at just 2017 alone, we saved, through our participation with those large commercial customers, 16,634 megawatt hours, or roughly enough power to serve 2,700 homes for 1 year. So, some real significant value and savings from that shift. So, our partnership with LAUSD. So, LAUSD summer shifted with us. They've been a great partner and have saved combined over the 2 years roughly $326,000 in terms of the participation, the summer shift credits. So if you look at that first year we had 107 schools participating, just under $200,000 in credit. And then this most recent summer we had 84 schools participate for roughly $127,000 in summer shift credit. I mean, this is truly a mutually beneficial program. They help us reduce that peak demand, those critical hours. And at the same time, this is money that can be reinvested back into the schools for much needed programming and all the things that they do for all those students across Los Angeles. So this is, again, just the high level stats regarding this. But what we'd love to see as we look towards 2018 is, what are the next steps we can take to increase that level of participation, that mutual benefit with LAUSD and with some of our other partners who are one of our last slides in this deck.
How many schools are there in LAUSD?
So LAUSD has several hundred schools. 1,000? Okay. When I was doing a recycling program partnership with LAUSD and sanitation, it was roughly 600 schools we had participating, but there's well over 1,000 schools in total in LAUSD. So this represents, again, a good commitment if you're looking at, say, 100 schools, but there's definitely an opportunity to get hopefully more schools involved as we look towards 2018.
Now, it's less in 2017.
Yeah, as that was a great...
Same thing?
Yeah, so it's really, there was a lot of focus on 2016 given the situation with Aliso Canyon, and there was definitely a lot of information out there to the public from the media and such, and we had a great response. I think the response dipped a little bit in 2017, but we see an opportunity to again increase that participation as we get to 2018. And this is just one component to overall demand response. The power system really has a very robust program working with the commercial sector in demand response activities. So this is just one particular area that we focused on, but there's I think a much broader perspective that the power system can provide.
Well, how are we trying to encourage, for example, the school district?
So I think for one, the credit obviously is an incentive. But in addition to the credit, we have other efforts with LAUSD that are complementary, such as the energy efficient lighting programs that we're helping to fund with LAUSD, the water conservation, even though it's not an energy benefit, definitely water conservation efforts and programs. I know that the LAUSD has changed out many of the various faucets, urinals, toilets and things in their schools with more water efficient infrastructure. And on the energy efficiency side, we still see a lot of potential benefit in partnering with LAUSD to reduce that energy through the energy efficient lighting. And that we're a little bit, I think, slower to start on getting some of the schools on board with that. But as we get more and more schools switching out their lighting, then we're going to see some really dramatic responses in terms of reduced energy.
What methods are we using to inform the schools of this program? Because 84 out of 1,000 is, it's good, but it's a long way to go.
Very, very true. I think we could do more on the outreach. A lot of our outreach has been focused on trying to broaden the information getting out there to the multitude of large commercial industrial customers that we have. And again, we're looking at those that have the automated metering. In order to participate in this program, they have to have a an automated meter so that we can measure that change in demand. And that's not the case everywhere. There are probably, a number of commercial customers that we still need to outfit with the newest AMI meters. That could be true for some of the schools as well. And so I think that's part of our limitation. As we look towards 2018, we're looking at putting out roughly another 10,000 meters. And it's not going to be just in 1 year. It'll have to phase it over a period of time. But I think as we get those additional smart meters out there, it will broaden the base of those who could participate in the program.
And I might add that, a lot of folks went into this. This is the first time that someone's been asked to turn off the air conditioning during school hours or in the afternoon or reduce lighting. So they're always weighing the impacts on their own mission of having the kids there and that sort of thing. So as the school district learns more and learns how it works, I'm sure that, and we provide the kind of metering setup, I'm sure that there'll be more interest because there's a financial incentive. They are truly, them and other facilities like them are truly partners in helping us to manage the high demands. And so we're continuing to outreach. We have staff that work directly with the school district and other major customers on a constant basis. David Jaco's team doing all the conservation programs. And so it is definitely a two-way street for communication, and we're very engaged with all of our big customers to try to help them reduce their bills and to help us manage our demands.
Absolutely. And I would just add that if we looked at that context of the 2 fiscal years or 2 years, it's for LEOSD alone, it's roughly 38,000 megawatt hours of savings and roughly 6,350 homes to be powered from that savings. So truly a great benefit that we've seen, that partnership. So the next steps, as I indicated earlier, we are looking at deploying additional AMI smart meters, those large commercial and medium commercial industrial customers over the next 3 years. To the extent we can get those on board sooner, that will help us, I think, for their participation for 2018. We have a good web-based tool that was developed in-house by rate staff that really provides a great way for our customers to look at their consumption and then look at the impact with the program to see how they can further adjust their consumption and maximize the benefit of the credits. And then our partners. I think it's a little bit difficult to read the print there, but just to roll off a few of those. Coca-Cola participated for the last 2 years. LA Metro has participated, obviously LAUSD, the County of Los Angeles, a number of community colleges, Sears. We have a number of recycling firms, LA Trade Tech, MS Aerospace, really a wide variety of interests that have participated with us in this program, and we're looking towards even greater participation in 2018. And with that,
even Rich participates in this program.
We do want to have...
Rich participates with the water system in this program.
Oh, and the department, obviously. We've had participation from the department in the program. Forgot to mention the department. But the summer shift program, again, we're looking at 2018. And then we do definitely want those customers who may have an interest to contact their premier account manager or the department who can help them kind of negotiate through the process and get them signed up for us for next year. So great program, and one which we look to see expanded as we look towards 2018. And thank you again for your leadership. Really appreciate it. With that, I'm going to get up there. We have a substantial size check for LAUSD, and we'd like to have LAUSD as well join us.
Good.
Hi.
Looks heavy.
Hold on, Neil.
Right?
Okay, for Commissioner.
Thank you.
No problem.
Congrats.
So again, I've talked enough, but I'd love it if you guys would like to say a few words.
Mark Kovatter, I'm the Chief Facility Executive for the district, and I want to thank the Department of Water and Power for having this program, but more importantly for not just having a program, but being a close partner that's worked with us to allow us to do that. Just a couple comments on the numbers. I want to point out that we've got a summer school program that had been curtailed quite a bit, and 2 years ago had been reduced to one of the lower levels. We're fortunate that we were actually able to triple the number of schools that offered summer school last summer, so I'm sure that contributed in some part to the numbers we have. We are doing an aggressive modernization program, and included in all of our modernization is not only spending the extra money to do all the energy conservation, the best investments we can make for the long-term investments, but we're also installing the right meters that can help us monitor and control that. This is an important program, but it's been one of many programs with the partnership we've had with DWP. We've had an aggressive solar program. We've got 14.4 megawatts of energy we're getting from our solar program. We've done the lighting program. We've actually changed out every single light we have, and we're on the second round now, taking advantage of the latest technology to get it even more efficient lighting that goes through. Same thing with our solar. We've pretty much capped our solar program out, but there's a new wave of technology that's coming out, and we're going to look at that and reduce that quite a bit. Our new frontier, if you will, is this consuming energy when it's not necessarily consuming less energy. We've actually done things that have raised our demand. We opened a brand new high school this year that hadn't been in existence before. We've added a couple of stadium lights. We've added air conditioning in classrooms that have never had air conditioning before. And despite of all those increases, we've been able to reduce our energy consumption with our partnership by more than 2% per year for the last several years. We think we can do better. Between our two groups, we think we can get that up to 5% a year for the next several years, and we're going to work on that. And part of that's going to be at not necessarily consuming less energy, but using energy when it's less rare. The exact graph that you showed where maybe we can generate or we can consume energy for battery storage and those type of things that we set up. And then another major part of our program, inspired by your board member Barrard, she reminded us that we are an instruction facility. You know, our duty expands more than just a conservation at our school. It includes conservation in our homes. So we've done a lot of different programs where we try to reward the schools for the programs they do, not to conserve just at their school, but actually in their homes. Do things like the bucket brigade and other things with the water and with the energy conservations. We reward them. We have big checks too that we give to our students and bring them in our boardroom when they've done things that help us conserve that. So we see it as our duty not just to solve a problem for today, but to change a whole attitude and to change a generation. So we take conservation much more serious. And I just wanted to thank this board for their support and for DWP for all the partnerships we have, and I look forward to many more.
Let's get Commissioner Barrard in one of these pictures.
I want to hold it.
What?
Thank you. Great work. We'll keep looking forward to those declining percentages. Thank you very much. Marty?
Okay, well, how's my GM report going so far? So, we have a couple notes from Andy Kittle on the power system. Particularly, we wanted to bring the board up to speed on the latest with mutual aid regarding Puerto Rico. And then Andy wants to just give a brief update on a couple studies we have for once through cooling and the 100% renewables. So, Andy?
Hi, good morning, commissioners. So I want to update you. If you look at the pictures on the screen, there's just a couple pictures. So on October 18th, we had a request from Pacific Gas and Electric for some mutual aid to assist in the fire areas. What they needed was experienced crews to come out and wash insulators from the soot and the ash from the fires. So we sent about 8 people up there for a period of, we committed them to up to 2 weeks. Typically, based on their own experience, PG&E washes about 12 poles a day. Our crews washed, between the two crews we sent, they washed 200 poles a day. So they basically worked themselves out of work in about 4 days. So, but it's important. They had voltages from 4 to 21,000 volts, and it's important because when the ash and the soot gets on the insulators, it causes the voltage to track to the cross arms and can cause hazards. Either relays the circuit out or it can cause the wire to burn down and become a hazard. So it was important for us to assist them in this. This is the second time this year we've sent crews up to assist PG&E from the rain and snowstorms earlier this year. So we sent our transmission wash crews up there. And again, we got a letter of appreciation from PG&E on their professionalism and the way they represented the department. So we're very proud of them. So again, these are just some of the pictures of the crews performing their duties.
And in this case, you know, one of the things that PG&E was concerned about was not having outages after the fire when they had areas back restored in power. And so you actually see our crews doing this in town from time to time, around annually or so. We get around to all the major transmission lines again because the buildup of the particulate matter in the air can cause an outage or short and then cause the system to relay. So it's all for power reliability. So we were able to help out there.
Right.
Andy
And
Keeler?
again, again, the second time, we've helped them with crews to actually restore power earlier. In this case, they had plenty of help for that, but what they didn't have was the expertise to get this many structures washed and cleaned in a short period of time. So we're very proud of our crews. They mobilized. The supervisor of this crew happens to live across the street from me, and I was driving home and he was walking his dog, and I said, hey, I need you to get 6 people together and leave tomorrow morning. And he did that, and we sent some managers along with him. So with that, then those are our crews right there out in front of the PG&E facility. So when it comes to Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, as you may have read, Puerto Rico canceled the contract with Whitefish. The Army Corps of Engineers has put out a new contract, and they're in the process of grabbing crews for that. To start, the islands this isn't the normal case of mutual aid where we go for a couple weeks and we restore a few broken poles and string some wire back. This is a complete rebuild of both islands. So they anticipate for Puerto Rico, we're looking at 6 months to a year of work. That's tough for utilities to commit to. But we have committed. We've committed crews, and when they make the call, we'll be ready to go. It will be a while. Right now, air support is off the table, so it really doesn't make sense at this time to to have crews drive from here to Florida and then get on a boat for a week and then go. We anticipate as the need goes and crews have rotated in and out that they may need us later. And again, we will have crews. Right now, there's a request for material. And so we're looking through our material to see that if we have material that is compatible with their system, and we will support in that, and we'll support with expertise to send people there if requested. So right now, we're ready to go. We have 6 crews, 6 line crews, some tree crews, and support personnel, mechanics ready to go. And as soon as we get the call, we'll go. Right now, they're starting with contract crews because it's easier for utilities to release their contractors. It's important to note for us, the crews we send are the same crews that do our reliability. It's the same people who would be energizing new businesses. So, to commit to that for any more than the typical 2 weeks to a month would really impact our ability to serve our customers. So we're ready to help, but at a time where it works for both of us, and we'll support. I know our crews are ready to go. They see what's going on there, and they want to get there and help because that's what we do. So
I'd like to say bravo, Andy, to you and your crew. Many times DWP is portrayed as in a negative light to our ratepayers. But I can attest to the fact that as soon as Puerto Rico's headlines hit the news, literally minutes later, General Manager Wright, Richard Harsick, you offered assistance, and at that time they turned down our assistance. But the fact that we followed through makes me very, very proud to be affiliated with this department. And so I extend my accolades and applause to you and your staff and the department.
Well, I thank you for that. You know, when we went to Hurricane Sandy in New York back in 2012, I managed that group. And it was interesting to me, you know, because it was a little different. We went in right after a hurricane, and so, you know, you had those kind of conditions, and 2 days later, they had a nor'easter, so they had snowstorms. And watching our crews and, you know, talking to them, and, you know, there were times where we said, hey, it's time to quit, right, for their safety. And they're like, you know what, if we work another hour in the dark, in the cold, we can get this many more people back on, right? And they committed to that. And that's just the nature of our employees. So again, I thank you for that. And when we get called, whether it's Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, or the next disaster that happens, we'll be ready and we'll support. And that's what I love about this industry and this utility, right? It's you know, it's a family, and I've seen how people who don't know each other, when something happens to people, you know, they'll go to somebody's house and build a wheelchair ramp. They'll throw money in a hat for people they've never met. And it's just a family, and that's what I've enjoyed in my, you know, spending my 35 years here with Water and Power. So.
Thank you. I would like to also offer some words. I have been very closely following what happens in Puerto Rico and the millions of people affected in the island and the way that the current administration have been treating them. And I want to applaud not just DWP, but also the City of LA, the Mayor Garcetti, for really stepping up. When we have a federal government that doesn't want to step up, we do that. And that's very commendable. Thank you. Thank you. As someone that spent so much time with the Puerto Rican community in New York in my days going to school and living there, as someone that has family there that is being affected, you know, front line on this issue that also shines the light to climate change and our extractive economy and the way that we utilize our electricity and our water. I really want to thank you for stepping up, for going out there, for supporting people that you don't know, for supporting my family, for supporting the Puerto Rican community, and to try to bring them something so basic, which is energy and electricity, so that they can function, they can get back on their feet, and they can reconstruct this island that deserves our support and our help. So thank you so much to your crew. Please stand to your neighbor. My deepest gratitude, because this really means a lot and it touches a very personal part in my heart. So thank you, and thank you DWP, thank you Mr. Wright, and all of the people that have stepped up and really made this an issue that is important to them. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Clearly, Commissioners Noonan and Vasquez speak for all of us, although they maybe were more eloquent than the others of us might have been.
All right, thank you. All right, so next I want to just briefly go through, and we'll have a more comprehensive report on this at a later date, but I wanted to just kind of talk about the two sort of separate but related studies we have going on. One is the 100% renewable study and the once through cooling local reliability study. So I know if you recall, back in June of 17, we came to the board and presented our pause on the repowering efforts. And then we also briefly discussed the 100% study in its planning state. So if you recall, in 2016, the council directed LADWP to develop and implement research partnerships utilizing resources and efforts of the U.S. Department of Energy, and determine what investments are required to achieve 100% renewable energy portfolio, and then also examine what the impact of that 100% would have on a local economy and our hiring programs. So I'll start with the 100% renewable study. Basically, the NREL, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, is the project manager and facilitator for this. We expect that the draft results from this study will be in early 2019. We have the 100% advisory group meetings. They're quarterly meetings, with the next one being this month on the 16th. And also the information and presentations on these meetings are on our My LADWP website. And so we were asked to form in the advisory groups, right? And that is groups from academia, members of the city government, business groups. There's members of the neighborhood council. We have environmental participation. Many of our premier accounts and other utilities are sort of part of that. So we're working through this study to determine the impacts of what it will take and what it will cost and what are the impacts of 100% renewable. That's the goal we need to get to, as close to as we can. And again, we'll come back with a larger presentation on this at a later date. Related to that, but different, is our once-through cooling reliability. When we came back for the pause presentation in June, that was to pause on our repowering of our local gas plants and the plan that we had in place at the time. What we wanted to do was go back and get independent analysis of what our assumptions were. We had made our assumptions earlier on, a lot before many of these other renewable alternatives were there. So what we wanted to do was have somebody else look at our plan and look at what we need for repowering and come back with an independent analysis of that to either tell us our assumptions are right or how much they're right. Do we need to do everything we were planning, or can we do less, right? So that once-through cooling study is going on, and we anticipate Worley Parsons and Navigant are the project managers on that. They're independent studies, but they're connected because the once-through cooling will inform the 100% study. But it's important because we do have deadlines on our once-through cooling that we have to complete this. So we expect that probably first quarter to mid next year we'll come back with the draft on the once-through cooling studies, and we'll let you know about that. And then the 100% study will use the like I said, that data from the once-through cooling will inform, and the modeling will go along and help with the the information from those will inform each study. And again, so 2018 for once-through cooling, and 2019 we should have draft reports for the 100% renewable.
Thank you.
And again, we'll be coming back with a more comprehensive presentation at a later date.
Good.
I failed to recall one comment that I wanted to make about Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And so I hope that you join me in applauding Gwen Williams, who's done such an amazing job in procurement and transparency, increasing the audience of bidders. And I think there is a lesson to be learned in Puerto Rico. The fact that a contract was issued without bidding, and how that turned and reversed efficiency. And I think that you are doing an outstanding job to increase the audience of bidders and being very transparent. So I think there's a lesson to be learned about that, and I thought it was worth a minute of your attention to consider that. So thank you, Gwen.
Thank you.
Marty?
My next comment will be made by...
I had a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry. On the once-through cooling analysis, Andy, is that going to be ready in time for the board to assess it, to make budgeting decisions for next year? Are we going to take the repowering issue off the table for our budget next year?
Yeah, I think, well, like I said, we're expecting the draft to come sort of early to mid of next year, so we'll have brought that budget to you. So right now we're sort of looking at moving that out that next year. Now if it comes earlier, I mean, we're in the process of forming our budget for the 18-19 year now. We're having those meetings, and we need to bring that to you by March.
Right.
So the study, I don't think will be completed necessarily in time to include that in.
I think that whatever preliminary findings that you're comfortable bringing up before the March budget would be helpful, so that we can.
Yeah, as soon as we have information to share, like I said, we will.
Okay.
We'll share, and again, I don't know that we'll have that done far enough to be able to plan to do it in that 18-19 budget year.
We'll make sure we have the worst case identified in the budget, but at the same time make sure that what we put in the budget doesn't drive rates, because that's one of Neil's concerns, is that we that we make
Right,
sure
we
that we
don't-
don't budget things that aren't going to happen, that then impact rates adversely. So we'll be very careful about that.
Okay, and there are two other things. One is the advisory group on the 100% renewables committee. I've been very interested in making sure that we have more women involved in things that are traditionally male, including this advisory committee. So if you could bring back a demographic analysis to
Sure.
the board of gender, ethnic, and other makeup, including LGBTQ as well, of this advisory committee, because this is kind of a very important committee for the 100% renewable issue, and I think that we as a board would like to see that. I'd like to see it. And then the last thing is I just wanted to extend my thank you, Andy, to your putting yourself out there all over the city of LA, and I saw the work that you did at Jacaranda Park near Watts, all areas of the city. It's not unnoticed by not just me, but the other board members, how you have made an extra effort at equitably distributing your time to different parts of the city. And I know that you're up in Santa Clarita, I think.
Acton.
Yeah, Acton.
Well, you know what, I grew up in Eagle Rock, so I spent
Right,
most of my
right.
formative years
Right.
in,
So
you know, and I believe, you know, I live 2 blocks from a park, you know, and I had the ability to go there every day, and I truly believe that every child should live close to a park, and where we can use our right-of-ways and our you know, properties to make that happen. I think, you know, my mentor is Marty on this. You know, I managed to make about 1/10 of the things Marty makes, and he and I bounce ideas off each other all the time. And like I said, I think, you know, the reality is it's the ratepayers' property. We just manage it for them.
Well, your presence has been noted, and I just wanted to thank you for doing it, because
It's my
sometimes it
pleasure.
doesn't really get publicly thanked. So thanks.
All right, that's my pleasure. Thank you.
I'm
No,
sorry.
please, go ahead. Do you want to respond?
I was just going to continue on if you had a question. I would
Yeah,
say,
I have a question about your presentation. Thank you. If the once-through cooling process, so I heard that we have a pretty diverse, or trying to make very diverse advisory committee for the 100% renewables. Do we also have something similar for the one-through cooling?
That process is, like I said, being managed by Worley Parsons. I don't think it's as diverse as we have for the ones through, or the 100%. I'll get back to you with actually what the makeup of that committee
So
is.
I guess that leads me to ask, what are we doing to engage the public and the ratepayers through this process?
Well, they are reaching out. I'm not exactly sure on that one of what the outreach is, but we'll get back to you at our next board meeting with that information.
and part of the once-through cooling study is to have an independent look at what we
Right.
need to do, not even with us
Right.
influencing. So the consultants are charged with giving us an independent view of our options without outside influence. So there is a certain difference between the other study.
Yeah, and I also want to, I think I mentioned earlier that I had the chance to go to NREL with Mr. Montagne, and that was a very excellent experience for me. And I think just to understand the depth of this study, I really want to applaud the staff and just all the board in general, and also the city council for taking this incredible bold step. I mean, we are the second largest city in the country with the largest public utility probably in the world. And this is an incredible opportunity that we have to really change the way we utilize our electricity, our infrastructure, taking LA to a really forward in terms of our infrastructure and so I couldn't have been more excited to be part of the DWP family at this point, because I feel like this is such a great step towards the right direction, not just because our ratepayers deserve it, but also because our environment and our community here in LA also deserves this. Thank you.
So I'd like Rich to share a bit of good news with us.
Yeah,
the recognition we received.
In October, the water system received the Sustainable Water Utility Management Award from the Association of Metropolitan Water Agencies. That's this right here. It was one of several water utilities that were recognized for their commitment to a management that achieves to balance innovation and successful efforts in our economic, social, and environmental endeavors. And in general, you have a couple documents. This explains how AMWA, reasons why they gave us the award. And then in detail, this is our application for the award. And it's basically a summarization, or really a listing of all the efforts together in our sustainability program. And so in it, it's a fascinating read, actually, of all the different things that the department and water system is doing in its resource management profile and other efforts in there. So I commend that document to you, and we're pleased to receive the award.
Well, I'd like to state that aside from Marty Adams, I don't think there's been another individual as impressive as Richard Harsick managing DWP's water division. I've spent a lot of time with Richard, lucky for me, very impressed. He is so diplomatic, so knowledgeable, and I think that he represents all of us Angelinos incredibly well. So bravo to you being recognized. You missed that point. Richard
Well, they just put my
specifically
picture
was
on
recognized.
it. So. It's the combined efforts of our staff. So.
Yeah, but you should get mentioned. So, Marty, you led him well.
Thank you. Thank you. Lastly, if I may just...
Oh, wait, the celebration is not over.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is so exciting. Richard, thank you so much for all the time and dedication. I recently had the chance to travel with you and get to know you better, and we couldn't be in better hands. Thank you so much for your leadership and all of the experience that you bring in, and also all of the innovation that you're also trying to bring to this period of our time with our water department and so here at DWP. I couldn't have been more pleased, and I hope that maybe later on we can take a picture so that I can celebrate you publicly with other people. Thank you.
A Twitter selfie.
So lastly, to conclude my report, this may have set a record, I don't know. You mentioned the word leadership, and I just wanted to point out that we are doing our best to fulfill Dave Wright's vision of leadership and playing our role as the largest municipal utility in the nation. Dave's up speaking to APPA right now in Sacramento. He and I are both speaking again in December. Rich has been speaking recently. Reiko is speaking right now. Andy's been off doing the same. We feel that playing a leadership role in this industry, both for water and power, is a real part of who we need to be, and it's something that we take very seriously. Along those lines, most of what I had to report to the mayor's cabinet yesterday was all about leadership in other areas, particularly areas of rebates and inclusiveness. So David Jaco's folks have recently done a AC tune-up or AC turn-in rebate. We're working on our AC tune-up program. We just added 25 cents to our turf removal program to raise it back to $2 a square foot to the end of the year. Trying to jumpstart that again during the off season when people do a lot of work in their yards, replace turf. But we are trying to push all these programs, but at the same time, we're also rolling out our equity metrics report. We had 2 meetings already with different neighborhood council groups, and we have more scheduled. So we do believe that this is a great time of year to both show leadership and then different conferences and things that are going on around the country, and at the same time also to make sure that our programs are accessible and available and known to all the folks that we serve. So that concludes my report.
Bravo.
Bravo. And my final thought, because it always surprises me that people listen to this broadcast, but at times I'm told that they do. And I think it's very important for us as commissioners to relay the fact, because many times the press really reflects negatively on DWP, but upon our mayor's initiative, not only Mayor Garcetti, but his former counterpart, Mayor Villaraigosa, set lofty goals for Los Angeles. And as a department, we are very, very proud that not only are we on target, we're actually ahead of target. However, this requires an investment, and it will pay back to our ratepayers. But separate aside from these lofty goals that we are achieving through the expertise of our staff, It's important to note that we are dealing with a lot of other required investments relating to mitigation efforts in Owens Valley. And so there's a very, very intense complexity as to how we dedicate every penny of every ratepayer's dollar. And I can say, having served on this board for many years now, I truly think that the department is doing an outstanding job in being a leader in the industry and really looking after our mandates and our lofty goals, which I do think will be achieved by our deadlines. So I applaud the department and all of you.
Thank you.
Okay, this was a very comprehensive general manager's report.
Tell Dave he had his longest report ever.
We'll tell Dave Wright that the report was done very well in his absence. Comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations. Any comments? Okay, comments from ratepayer advocate on agendized items.
Three brief items. Once, thanks to data provided by the department, we've recently summarized water usage by month, by climate zone within the city for the 3 climate zones, and presented that to the Neighborhood Council MOU group this last Saturday. We'll be distributing a copy of that presentation to the board, and we'll be posting that on our website. It shows substantial progress in every zone in every month in terms of usage, water usage over the last 3 years.
Terrific.
Second, a comment related to item 11, but not should not affect the decision on item 11 related to electro rent, is we've asked for additional material from the department over the next few months on how the increase in employee headcount will be used on key business areas that reflecting need, such as in the IT area, and building up capabilities to expand the power system reliability program. And then third, congratulations on item 19, which is a pilot program that is not just multi-department, but also multi-agency. And it's important in terms of doing joint programs and pilots like this.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Okay, management report, presentation on water system resiliency.
So, commissioners, today we have a presentation on water system resiliency, and coming to the table now is Dr. Craig Davis and Ophelia Rubio. Both of them give management and oversight to the water system's resiliency efforts. The information they're providing today is going to focus on an update and overview of our resiliency program, and then as well as the efforts we're doing developing a resilient water supply, firefighting water supply, and a seismic resilient pipe network.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, commissioners, for your time and all of your support in this program. What Ophelia and I will give you today is an update. I gave a more detailed presentation on the status about a year ago on December 6th, and most of the commissioners were present to see that. I apologize, Commissioner Vasquez, you were not available, but it is. And we just reviewed it again. It is available online, so we have a very good program where you can go back and visit that. So we don't intend to get into a high level of detail like we have done before, but we are happy to do so at your request at any time. So what we're going to do here is focus on 4 key areas of the program. That is the resilience program itself, give a simple overview, the resilient water supply strategy, firefighting water supply, and the seismic resilient pipe network, which is very active at the moment. So for the resilience program, it's going to be easier if I do that. So excuse me for the pause. This resilience program integrates into all aspects of the water business, and it goes well beyond what we're able to present to you here. And I am very happy to report that I find zero dissent from the water system on any level in the management and any level of employees in any classification. Everybody is fully engaged and on board, and it keeps Ophelia, myself, and a whole bunch of other people very, very busy trying to keep up with the expectations of this program. And it's not a new program per se. We're looking at things a little bit different, but I really need to emphasize that we've been doing things for over 100 years in this category, and it just is, it's a never-ending program, and that's the emphasis that we have in the water system. And it is in strong support of Mayor Garcetti's LA City Resilience Strategy. And based on that, I do want to point out and introduce some people in the audience. First, our Chief Resilience Officer, Marissa Aho, is here and present in support of our program. We work very closely with her. We try to meet several times a month, if not at least more than once a week. And we keep in close contact, and we've been able to support her in developing a much larger program that hopefully will be revealed by the mayor in the coming weeks, months, sometime in there. We also have appointed a resilience expert panel, which are expert advisors to the resilience program. They include Professor Tom O'Rourke from Cornell University, Dr. Hudnett from the USGS, whom I also want to introduce at this point, who is in the audience in support of our program. And also would like to point out that he took the position from Dr. Lucy Jones when she retired a little over a year ago. So he does an excellent job of supporting our program and getting information to help us always improve. And also Professor Charles Scawthorne from the University of California, Berkeley serves on that. So getting a little bit more into the focus area of the resilient water supply, I'm happy to report that we are continuing to work with our colleagues to move the Seismic Resilient Water Supply Task Force forward. This is a program that was recommended by Mayor Garcetti, and we are very interested in this. And what it is, the three major water supply importers, so us, the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, and the Department of Water Resources, State of California, have teamed together to create an unprecedented level of effort to ensure that we improve the resilience of our imported water supply, because at least 50% of all of Southern California relies on this imported water. We have now an action plan that we released a few months ago that covers the next 5 years, and we plan to look at it annually and update significantly every 5 years. The current action plan shows to coordinate emergency response together. So our idea is that we would, if there is a major event that affects all of our aqueducts, or even one most significantly, we can maybe respond in the future as though we're one agency by looking at these three major importing systems, not as three separate systems, but recognizing that they're all in support of all of Southern California. Even though Los Angeles owns and operates its own aqueduct, we're all in this together. And so we can all help each other in that way. We're performing seismic assessments of our aqueducts, and I'll give an example of one project that's coming out of that. We need to assess the power and energy vulnerabilities of our aqueducts. That includes the LADWP power system, which we do work with closely on this, and they give us very strong support. Southern California Edison, not for our part of the system, well, maybe a little bit up north, but mostly for DWR and partially for MWD. And they need support from Southern Cal Gas Company because of the power generation through the gas network. We want to conduct joint exercises in the future. We're working together on developing that and investigating the aqueduct interties for emergency use. So we have some interties, for example, with the state aqueduct, but we see need to create some other ones and enhance those so that we would have better operational capabilities. I want to give you one example here of a seismic improvement that we're undertaking that's a little bit innovative. So what we're showing here on the screen is at the top, you see where our two aqueducts come down. The one on the right is the second aqueduct. The one on the left that kind of curves around more is our first aqueduct. And they join together at Fairmount Reservoir and become one single conduit through our Elizabeth Tunnel and continue as a single conduit from about half the distance further down to Los Angeles. In this location, we cross the San Andreas Fault nearly perpendicularly, so we have a hazard of the fault offset when this earthquake does occur in this area. And then we also have these two areas that I point out that we believe are vulnerable to the potential for collapse. So any of these things can actually dam up the tunnel and prevent us from bringing water down. And also on here, not shown, but the California Aqueduct actually runs very parallel, quite parallel to the San Andreas Fault. So what we're trying to do is enhance our aqueduct to increase the probability of bringing water through the San Andreas Fault zone after an event. I'll explain that it doesn't necessarily prevent all cases, which becomes obvious when you notice that we have a 9-foot wide tunnel, but the fault can actually rupture anywhere from a few feet up to maybe even 30 or 40 feet. We're trying to ascertain how much it would actually move. But there is a certain probability, and we've quantified it to the best we can, to about a 50% chance that it doesn't rupture more than about 6 to 9 feet. So we're trying to work on improving our odds with that 50% chance. And what we're doing is in the fault zone and the potential collapse zones, we're putting in some steel sets, what we call them in the tunneling field, to reinforce the concrete liner to keep it from collapsing. And we can't completely prevent the opportunity of still having a full collapse at the fault offset. So we're increasing the ability to provide water by putting in a conduit that would remain open at all times. And if it does collapse, it would remain keeping an air void space, or a water void space, if you will, to keep water flowing to Southern California. And that project is about to finish out of planning and move into design. It will be in design starting next year. And we're working closely with the designers. On the fire, not to mention, we are also in parallel trying to tackle the much bigger problem. What do we do about the very largest offset? Right, so we're tackling about 50% of our problem here, but that's a much bigger problem. There's a lot of different opportunities in what we might be able to achieve. Some of them might be very expensive. We don't know if we have the funding and how all this will work. It's quite challenging for some of the world's experts that we're working with, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to update you on that as we move forward. But that, I don't want to talk much more on that detail because it's still in the very, very early stages.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I know that it's in the early stages, but it's one of the things that kind of keeps me up at night is this picture that Dave Pettyjohn or somebody, maybe Marty, showed me of, you know, the pipe here and then 30 feet down pipe. I assume that we have some plan to keep us so that it's not a 3 or 6 month delay, but it's more like a whatever delay in dealing with that situation.
We, with the Water Supply Task Force, we have just revisited that. And there is some question as to whether it would be within 6 months or not. Right. And part of that actually comes from a paradigm that the USGS has been able to bring forward to us that we in the water industry never really understood until a few years ago. And that is that the San Andreas Fault actually can rupture from its southernmost tip beyond the Los Angeles Aqueduct north, and even more so past the west branch of the California Aqueduct. That was something that wasn't understood when we built this infrastructure. And so since we've learned that, this is actually the impetus of creating this task force so that we can create performance criteria, identify what we need to do to ensure that we can meet the needs for the city of Los Angeles and all of Southern California bringing in the water. Now, in any given earthquake, we may not have that problem, but there are some very extreme scenarios where we're a little bit concerned about, and we want to address that more specifically so that you can and always will sleep well at night.
I only mention it because when you talk about it's too much, I think if before that statement's made, I think that as a board, it's incumbent on us to understand what that number is and get out to the ratepayers what it is, and if they don't want to invest in it, then so be it. But I'd like to know what the number is before we start saying it's too much, because what's too much to one person might not be enough to another. So I would just next time we hear a report, it would be nice to know if the numbers are quantified, and if the ratepayers don't want to pay for it, then we can at least have told the ratepayers that this is what it would cost to either insure against or deal with this situation, and it's just a business risk that we're taking.
So, thank you for that for two reasons. One, as a leadership position, to making that point very clear, I agree with that point. And second, to caution me to be careful in how I present those things.
I will comment that when Craig mentioned working with the other importers, with DWR and MET, this is one of the advantages of working together is that there may be certain gains on different systems that can be made. And so it's not just hardening the LA aqueduct, but it may be at some point the next best thing is we all gang up on the State Water Project, the Colorado River Aqueduct. So this is, after the '94 earthquake, everyone was trying to fix their own thing as fast as they could, and whoever had water first was going to share it with everybody. And so, but working together, we can really come up with a better set of plans to make sure that we're all pulling the same direction and making the most of the resources that are available.
Thank you. Okay, so on the topic of firefighting water supply, we are working very closely with the fire department, but what isn't shown here, we're also working very closely through the mayor's office with the emergency management department and other agencies within city departments and external, including Southern Cal Gas Company as an example. We're looking to get a better understanding of the risks and fire hazard areas throughout the city, alternate water sources and how they are distributed through the city, and the distance of which the fire department might be able to relay water with their existing equipment or potentially even other equipment they might be able to purchase. The concern here is that from past experiences, we know that we have some vulnerabilities in existing piping system and that we can lose water. And the water loss areas can be quite large. The concern is that we can have a significant number of fire ignitions, not necessarily fires, and if there are certain conditions in certain areas of the city that they might not be able to be controlled, and we want to prevent that from happening. And what I showed down here is a fire that was able to be controlled within limited extent after the 1994 Northridge earthquake, where you see our water and electric power and gas burning a few homes. It was limited to just a few homes, fortunately, in that case. And below that is what happened in San Francisco in 1906, where the disaster actually wasn't necessarily the earthquake, it was the fire that followed. And we want to prevent Los Angeles from being in that type of a situation. So one aspect that we're undertaking to help prevent that type of a situation in the future is to develop a resilient pipe grid as part of the seismic resilient pipe network, which we'll describe a little bit more in the future. And the fire department is a significant customer driving how we will be viewing this. And also we are undertaking a citywide fire following earthquake risk assessment. We've been collecting data for that over a year. It's a very significant amount of data, and we're about to proceed with having expert analysis on that. So
Quick question. I know that we've discussed this in the past. In Japan, once they had that very severe earthquake, they created a very special type of pipe that would withstand seismic eruptions. Are we incorporating that more onto the fault lines of LA?
And you will see some examples of that.
Okay.
And I'm about to talk about that very well.
That makes me very happy.
Your timing is very good.
Okay.
So what is a resilient pipe network? First, we come up with an idea of what is it. So a resilient pipe network to us is a seismic resilient, is designed and constructed to accommodate the damage and still provide the ability to limit the total number of outages and be able to repair the pipe network back to get to the customers the water that they need when they need it, right? Because we can't prevent all of this. And to us, the seismic resilient pipe network isn't just the seismic pipe that we put in, it's how all 7,000 miles of pipe interact. So we want to improve at least a minimum level of the network so that we can achieve the limited number of outages and restoration in the future to meet what the city visions as being resilient. So we're here for the community. We're really thinking about this on a community basis, more from the bottom up, in my opinion, rather than us with the water flow downwards. And to do that, we need to create this, a minimum, an arterial subnetwork of these reliable pipes, some of which you just asked about. So some of the pipes that we have the opportunity to use are shown here. One of those is the earthquake-resistant ductile iron pipe, which is the one, the model of it, which I've shown, and I should have brought it again to show others, but we could do that at some other time. On the left there, that is the pipe that was innovated in Japan, and it has no damage in over 40 years of use. In fact, not even a leak. It just keeps functioning, even though in some cases it's moved maybe 15 feet. So over two of me laying end to end, this pipe is moved and never even leaked. So that's very impeccable performance. We piloted that in 2011. We've installed it at 5 different sites. You will be seeing some other information from Ophelia here in a few minutes on other aspects of what we're doing with that pipe. Since we undertook that, we've been able to work with another Japanese company, the JFB Steel Pipe Corporation, where they have a special design, which is the other pipe over here, showing how a steel pipe can actually accommodate very large and sharp movements over fault crossings when you can actually define where the fault is. And we have very complicated faulting systems here, and we're having difficulty in some of the current projects and how to identify this, but I can see the use of this pipe product in the future with a lot of our steel pipe. We've also spurred on an industry, which will be the focus of the next, but in resilient pipe market. Some of those are from the American manufacturers that didn't provide these products earlier, but do provide them now that we've shown that we really have the need for this. And of course, HDPE has always performed well when it's well constructed, and it's been proven in several recent earthquakes, most notably in Christchurch, that it can handle large ground movements and continue to function. And by the way, the HDPE wood to pipe, if you didn't notice, I forgot to point it out, that we currently are planning to use in the Elizabeth Tunnel. But let's talk a little bit more about the resilient pipe network. So undertaking this program and finding the need and getting management approval that we will install a seismic resilient pipe network, we needed products of which we could use, right? And so we can't just rely only on one type of pipe. We need competition, and we need to find the best pipe products for the purposes of which they're needed, which go beyond just earthquakes. So we want to look at all this, and we've been working with pipe manufacturing companies. We've been working with testing companies. Well, actually not necessarily the companies, but Cornell University has a very long-term program where they've been testing the seismic capabilities of pipes for decades. And they have a very unique position in the world, and we've worked with Cornell for many, many decades now ourselves. And so we're following on what they've been able to do to encourage the pipe manufacturers to have their pipes tested in a consistent way so that we can look at them as engineers on a comparable basis so that we can make proper selections of what pipes meet the needs for the seismic demands that we have. That's being very successful. So all of the pipe manufacturers so far that have come to us have undertaken these tests, and we continually work with them. I probably talk with pipe manufacturers on once a month, talking about what we can do when they come in and say, we have a pipe product for you. It's like, well, I need proof that it actually meets what we need. So we've undertaken the pilot projects. First was with the earthquake-resistant ductile iron pipe from Japan, and Ophelia mentioned other pilot projects that we're moving forward. And we're also working, not only do we need the test, but the manufacturers actually ask, what is the standard of which I need to meet? Where we don't have seismic pipe standards right now in this country. So we're taking the lead to work with the American Society of Civil Engineers, American Water Works Association, and many other water utilities, some of which I just point out here, to develop these standards so that they would go beyond just internal DWP standards, but they would be national standards and maybe even international standards. This is an example of our transmission pipe grid. So we're working on getting water through transmission to each pressure zone. And then from there, we need to create a grid to where we can get water into that grid that I mentioned earlier that would be designed based on the fire department ability to work. And from that grid, get it to the important customers beyond just the fire department, the hospitals, emergency evacuation centers, and so on. And here I want to point out that we have an ongoing, project of which we will be installing some special seismic pipe along our foothill trunk line that I want to hand this presentation over to Ophelia now.
Quick question before you transition. Just like solar panels, at first they were very expensive, then China started producing more of them. Not so expensive anymore. The last time that you provided an update on different options of pipes, whether it be steel, this new technology, PVC pipes, it didn't seem that there was that great of a delta in pricing. Rather, it was about training our staff to know how to install such pipes. So can you quickly just give us an update? I think this is definitely worth our investment to have this technology, but can you quickly apprise us of the cost compared to steel, which we have used in the past primarily, and also where we are in terms of training our staff to install this type of pipe in Los Angeles.
So I'll start with the last training of the staff. We work with the manufacturers to provide the training, and maybe Ophelia can fill some of this in on a part of her presentation. As far as the cost, there's not a tremendous amount of additional data since the last time we communicated, but as you will see from Ophelia's part of the presentation, there are a lot of projects coming up of which we will acquire more information, and we can use that to assess what we have. I was the lead engineer for creating the project that Ophelia is about to present to you, and currently for the ductile iron pipe that we will be installing, the engineer's estimate is basically in line and within the amount of air that we expect that it would be if it was a steel pipe versus the ductile iron pipe that we are installing at this particular project. So it's still continually in line from what you understand, but we need more information, of which we'll be acquiring over the coming year or so to refine that information.
Okay. Okay, well, good morning, Commissioners. Prior to starting with my presentation, I'm going to ask Mr. Todd Lay to come to the podium, and he could speak a little bit on the training that is occurring with our forces.
Hello, Commissioners. We are about to train our staff on the installation of Kubota earthquake-resistant ductile iron pipe. There's 2 sessions of training. The first training is going to start on November 27 for 1 week long. 3 days of training to install a large diameter pipe, 54-inch diameter, and 2 days for the smaller pipe. We are, for the foothill trunk line, we are installing 11,000 feet of earthquake-resistant pipe, about 7,000 which will be installed by in-house crew. Along with the 54-inch trunk line, we will be installing a 12-inch parallel line also for the distribution system. So actually, it'll be close to 7,000 feet of pipe that the in-house crew will be, sorry, that'd be 14,000 of pipe that the in-house crew will be installing. So that's the first training is the end of November. When the second crews come on the project, there will be another session probably around the May-June period. So we'll have 2 crews working on this project installing earthquake-resistant pipe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And the training is for the large diameter pipe, which I'll lead into. So we are very happy to report that the construction of the department's first transmission line that will be using earthquake-resistant ductile iron pipe is going to start soon as possibly this December. And Tale was discussing sharing some of the training that is going to take place for this particular pipe. Todd did mention it's a 4.5-foot diameter pipe. It's going to replace pipe that's about 36 inches. It is also, it's in the Sunland Tehunga area on Foothill Boulevard, just about northwest of the 118 freeway. It's going to replace a approximately 90-year-old pipe. The pipe also crosses the San Fernando Fault, which is the same fault that ruptured in 1971. So we're really excited about the start of that work. What's shown up in the slide in the red areas are the areas that our construction forces are going to be working on. They're going to be working on that pipe for about 3 years. Soon after they complete, the contractor's going to come in and just finish off some of the pipe jacking work that needs to be done also on that particular project. Total project north of the 118 is about 2 miles. And that pipe, again, 4.5-foot diameter, when there is an earthquake, the joints will lock and they'll move. Our designers indicate that that pipe will move or could move approximately 10 feet. And that's pretty impressive for a pipe that size. On the distribution efforts, we do have over 2 miles already installed of this type of pipe. And there were, of course, training efforts for those particular projects. Our construction crews became very efficient in installing the smaller pipe. We are now working on the next 10 miles of pipe. When our designers looked at these particular projects, what they did, they looked at two different criteria. One is pipe that was vulnerable to earthquakes, as well as pipe that fed into, or that was feeding water into our critical life facilities. And so they chose most of them. The projects feed into hospitals, feed into schools, and that's just a partial list of some of the facilities that these pipes will be feeding into.
I have a comment that I wanted to
yes.
make. You have Children's Hospital in the West Valley. I think Children's Hospital is in the city on Vermont, so she really should be more in the central area.
Yes, yeah. And that is the Children's Hospital. Sorry, that's not quite clear. It's in the Encino Children's Hospital.
Where is that?
In Encino, it's on the northern section in the West Valley. I'm not sure, that's not maybe quite clear. Number 5.
Where's that?
I don't know where that is, and I live right near there. So.
The Balboa feeds into?
Balboa, and it's part of Children's Hospital of Los Angeles?
Yes.
Do we have jurisdiction over the Children's Hospital located off of Sunset? The main
Yes, we do.
Children's
Sorry.
Hospital.
Yes, we
so
do.
I mean, that should be our target point.
Yeah.
And
there's a Kaiser right there also.
So,
Yeah.
so maybe a point. So the network is not necessarily just looking at all the different hospitals and schools, but looking at there's several different overlays. So you're looking at these critical facilities and where our pipes are also underlaid by fault zones. So not all hospitals and schools, et cetera, key facilities in the city are near fault zones, and our pipes that serve those over that. So you're looking at a few different grids. So it's the how important the facility is, where our network is, and then where's the seismic zone over that, and probably a few other different areas.
Right,
there.
and
so it's
actually, I'm sorry, Rich.
Let's go ahead.
I didn't want to disrupt you. We have many projects coming up. So this is just one example of trunk lines, the prior slide, and 10 projects, or a number of projects with 10 miles, additional 10 miles of pipe that we have actually purchased. And we have other projects coming up, for example, on Sunset Trunk Line. We are working to add other hospitals, the Kaiser and the Children's Hospital, as well as possibly some other schools in the area. So we're leveraging our current projects to determine which ones should be within the seismic grid as a minimum, and how, if they're close, like the Sunset Trunk Line is, how do we extend that to improve by taking another block? I think literally that's all it was. How can we make such a significant resilient impact by just adding that little bit, by leveraging that some more? So we are actually addressing the hospitals that you brought up.
And Craig mentioned within our current project, so remember that Brony and Lindsay's crews are laying almost 50 miles of pipe a year now. So this is meant to leverage projects within what we're doing, not create a whole additional set of projects, otherwise we'll never get to our infrastructure replacement goals. So this is trying to wind this into replacement in a better way, try not to generate too many brand new projects where the pipe is in good shape already. So.
Okay. All right. So there are other resilient pipe efforts that we'd also like to talk about. One being, and Marty alluded to, the pipe replacement program. Last year, our goal was 550,000 feet. We exceeded that by 10%. And within 4 years, we're going to double that goal. It will be in 2020, 300,000 feet. So that's part of our efforts. We're also looking at other technologies, trenches technologies. Craig already talked a little bit about this. We did have a pilot program on one last year, and the pictures that are at the bottom show a cast iron pipe and what it looks like because of its exposure to water, and after it's lined with a liner that is usable for drinking water. We're working now on the second phase of that project, working with Cornell University, East Bay Mud, San Francisco Public Utility Commission, to also look at that pipe and how it responds structurally. So we're excited about that. We're continuing corrosion protection. DWP is a leader in corrosion protection in the water utility. We're probably one of the most, if not the most active water utility in the National Association of Corrosion Engineers. So we're continuing with our cathodic protection and coating protection efforts there. Hydraulic modeling, we're also remodeling our models for our zones. By the end of this year, we'll have approximately 45% of them remodeled. And we're already seeing a lot of good come out of that as far as when customers come, we could respond within a quarter of the time that we used to respond in the past. It's also helping, of course, with our design efforts and ensuring that we have fire capabilities available.
Do we still have pipes that look this corroded? Is the one that you have in the lower left?
We might have a few, very few.
Generally, no.
Yeah, very
I
few.
mean, before we did the cement mortar lining program, we had a lot that looked like that because before the mid-20s, pipes, it was the mid-20s or 30s, mid-20s, pipes were not lined on the inside. Then the industry standard had pipes lined on the inside, so you didn't see the metal-to-water contact. So then you had to deal with corrosion from the outside. So when we did this woven liner installation on this pilot last year, it wasn't pipe that looked as bad from the inside, but it was losing its structural integrity from the outside. So because you had internal and external corrosion. So when Craig talks about the structural integrity, you know, if you have enough metal left to form the shape, then you can get a pretty strong pipe out of this other material without having to dig the whole street up. So that's the technology. But that was what our pipes look like probably worldwide if they were installed before the 20s. And
Well, I would think that the water would not be safe to drink from.
well, it was not so much unsafe as it was. You had a lot of corrosion issues and a lot of discoloration. We went through, I believe, probably the most aggressive cement lining program in the world. I don't think anybody did as much as we did. And we lined all of our pipes with cement mortar lining, and that virtually stopped the corrosion and discolored water complaints that we were used to receive.
Because wouldn't pieces of metal come out?
They could come, or you could get rust off of there. But that's the way old pipes used to look before we did it. And the cement mortar lining program was designed to buy another 30 or more years on the pipe before we could do the final replacement. So we were fighting internal corrosion. We still had external structural integrity, but that bought us an extended lifespan of the pipelines that were basically corroding from the inside.
Do we know where we have existing pipes that may look like?
You know, the only place we really see anything like that now is maybe a stretch where something couldn't get relined, like a small connection piece between pipes. Pretty unusual though. For the most part, that we've lined just about everything we could physically get to. I can't remember how many millions of feet of pipe it was. We had a tremendous amount of pipe that we cement mortar lined, and that program largely completed in the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, that's reassuring.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a great graphic of what it looks like if you don't have lining on the inside of the pipe.
Yeah, it is a great graphic.
And so we're also continuing with testing some technology. I'll talk really quickly on two projects that we're working on. One is mobile devices. Some of our crews have mobile devices that if there is an outage, they can quickly provide us information. They can determine how many residents are impacted, if there are any critical residents that are impacted, so that we could address that quickly. They could share information with their supervisors and others so that we could respond more quicker to any of those breaks. We're currently reviewing two different vendors that have provided us with those mobile devices. We're also looking at pressure monitors that provide us real-time information. And if you look at the top photo where our crew member is adding a device to the fire hydrant. That device was designed because of DWP. DWP requested for a device that could be added to the operating nut of the fire hydrant. In the past, pressure monitors would sometimes be added to, say, where the nozzle was at, and that's not a good idea because of emergencies. So two firms have already now developed a device that we can add to the top. It gives us real-time pressure monitoring information. So say if there's a drop in the pressure or there's a surge in the pressure, we will know right away if there's a problem. And so we're looking to install about 50 to about 90, pressure monitors next year to evaluate them even further before implementing them citywide. The two vendors that we're working with, what we've asked them is that if they could also maybe add leak detection, and one of them has already indicated that within a year, their units will provide us with pressure monitoring as well as leak detection. And so the technology is changing quickly, and we're trying to capitalize on that so that we could respond a lot better. All right, and so these are some of the projects that we're working on.
Okay, and then to wrap it up, just point out some next steps. So one, we're developing an initial plan for a resilient water system network. We have completed a draft report that has been submitted to Rich Hersick for approval. We're incorporating the resiliency aspects into the asset management program, which include more than just earthquake, if we can move that forward to go beyond just earthquake hazards. Developing mitigation alternatives for major aqueducts, and just an extended item to some of the things I mentioned earlier, and continue our resilience efforts across the board. And related to that would be the recognition that this is, we are recognized as a world-class international program. People from all across the country are calling us all the time, and more specifically, I'm going to Mexico City just next week on Sunday to work with the city itself on, after their earthquakes in September, to do an investigation that can help us understand better what happens when we have similar types of conditions, and two, at their request, they are worried about their seismic resilience of their water system, and they want to learn from our successful program.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
We all applaud you, and I think just associated with this update, it's very important to note that Mayor Garcetti and our department have worked together to ensure that we're partners with the Convention Center. In case of an earthquake, we do have resources available to assist those that are in need. And so I applaud our department and our mayor and the city at large. I think we are taking care of our neighbors, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig.
Very nice report. Thank you. Okay, monthly reports. 8A CAO monthly report.
Thank you,
for September.
Mr. President. The monthly report is included in your packet. I would be happy to answer your questions.
Any questions? No questions?
I want to know if is the CFO report going to be today or not? Or do we just don't have one?
It's not listed.
Okay. The only thing that I'd like to see, I will not be at the November 28th board meetings, and I know that we may not have one in December, but what I'd like to see is some type of funding schedule for, it's come up in the equity metrics workshops. I'd like to see how equity metrics remediation end of things will be funded through the budget for 2018-19 at the next board meeting. And it doesn't have to be a full report. I'd just like to hear back from that. Okay.
Water system, June.
So you have a report in front of you, and I'll answer any questions if you have
Any questions? No questions. Elysian Reservoir Community Parks Enhancement Fund, Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks quarterly report.
So this is a fund that we set up in relation to our Elysian Reservoir project, and we are required to report quarterly on the expenditures of that. To date, Recon Parks has not spent anything. I did speak with their general manager over the weekend, and he assures me that they've got some projects coming up soon.
Good. Reassuring. Yvette, discussion with neighborhood council representatives on any neighborhood council resolution or community impact statement filed with the city clerk which relate to any agenda item listed or being considered on this agenda for the Water and Power Board.
No community impact statements or formal positions were filed by any neighborhood councils on the items on today's agenda.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting of October 17th?
So moved.
Those in favor?
Aye.
They're unanimously approved. Okay, we have items 11 through, I think 23, let's see. 23, Commissioner Funderburk will need to recuse from 23. We have speaker cards on item 17, so I assume that will not be, that will be pulled from consent. Are there any other items 11 through 16, or 18 through 22, which any commissioners would like pulled from consent? Hearing none, is there a motion on those items?
So moved.
So moved.
Second, those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
They're unanimously approved. Okay, so we have two items to consider. First, item 17, contract number 791 for services related to the groundwater monitoring and production wells installation agreement. Please call the three speaker cards, Yvette.
Okay, the speakers are from up in Bishop, and the first speaker is Paul Puett.
Good morning, Manahu, or good afternoon now. Well, I just, this is odd for me. You know, Indigenous people usually don't speak like this. We like to be face-to-face, so my apologies for not being able to be there. I just have some concerns with any type of new production wells thought about in the Owens Valley and Inyo County, Mono County area. I just want to commend you all for the great, you know, you guys are really saving water down there. I think you're at 20% this year again, higher than last year. And I think that we need to start really conserving where you're getting your source of water from. And this ain't part of conservation, doing some more production wells. I know it says in the background, over time, wells lose their pumping capacity or fail due to various reasons, such as sanding, you know, the wells filling up and the gravel pack and the screens. Well, a lot of it is because you're depleting the groundwater table with the aquifers. So that's probably like one of the main reasons why in Big Pine, our groundwater table and on parts of the reservation are as low as 80 feet. There's no tree around that could actually touch the groundwater, so we have to physically actually use water, and we do conservation on our reservation as well. So my concerns is that, you know, we need to conserve, and you need to really conserve about where the water is coming from, and I think that's would be a big start. You know, 14 production wells is a huge amount, and you know, the monitoring wells, I mean, as well, I mean, any type of drilling, I mean, to me, I mean, my family and, you know, the indigenous people have been up in this area for hundreds of thousands of years, and I mean, how would you feel if I went into your backyard and just started drilling some wells, or drilling in your backyard? It's kind of hurtful, and, you know, seeing this, you know, for the 7 generations, you know, I hear this a lot, you know, that there's not going to be too much more up here where we are, and the devastation that I've seen within the young 38 years I am, you know, it's a huge impact, and I just really want to, you know, hope you consider that we need to stop taking from your source. You know, you got to take care of what gives, and I don't see it being taken care of. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker.
President?
Yes.
May I quickly respond? I know it's out of protocol, but Commissioner Vasquez and I have spent a lot of time with Paul, his family, the Native Americans up north. And Paul, I just want to say thank you for sending this message. I know it's very uncomfortable to not meet in person, and I respect that. At the same token, I hope that the time that we've spent together with Mr. Harsick, with your community, has been of interest. And not to repeat myself verbosely, you know, we have 1 million more people in LA's population over 2-3 decades, yet we are using less water. We are mitigating the mistakes that we've made in the past, but Los Angeles is paying a premium from MWD to address Los Angeles water needs and looking after your community. So I think it's important to note that, and I want people who did not attend our meeting to be aware of that. So you have our attention. We share your plight, And we feel that we have been very, very generous in trying to not only honor our mitigation efforts, but also to look after your community. And I hope that you feel that and know that.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ms. Noonan, and thank you, Ms. Vasquez, for the compassion you have for people, and I know you care about your people and your constituents in Los Angeles, and I care about my people as well, and in the Owens Valley, and I want to thank you. And working together and coming together and creating a better watershed, is my goal. My goal is to work together with you all in the best way possible for the future of kids in general. So thank you.
We have a shared goal.
Let's hold the debate till after the presentation, because there's going to be a presentation as well. Okay, next speaker card.
The next speaker is Alan Baycock.
Manahu, Alan Baycock, also from the Big Pine Tribe, and do want to thank Commissioners Noonan and Vasquez for coming up to the Big Pine Reservation. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there as I was down walking along the streets of Los Angeles at that moment. But thank you for that relationship, the continuing relationship that we look forward to into the future. And with this agenda item, I just want to really recognize that Los Angeles has a strong goal of reducing dependence on imported water. And with this action in particular, it is increasing the infrastructure that is within the LA aqueduct system. And I don't necessarily see where that aligns with that goal of reducing dependence on imported water. In going down to Los Angeles, being able to visit with those tree people, seeing the innovative solutions which they have been able to implement on the ground, really does show me that Los Angeles has the ability and are implementing many strategies to be able to utilize that local water source and to look at how they can continue to strengthen that local water resource. And so instead of putting funds towards strengthening infrastructure that's going to create more imported water into Los Angeles, would like to see funds really redirected and moved down into Los Angeles. I know this action is to put in a number of wells over a 3-year period, but there's no plan that's been defined as to where those wells will be located. And so there will need to be additional work done to be able to ensure that environmental protection is continued in the midst of installing new wells. So a major concern in looking at this kind of broad contract to place wells within Inyo and Mono counties is that environmental documentation can be pushed forward to be able to deal with the contract rather than looking at the environmental protection goals as well. And not only that, but I think that there is a concern that Mono County can be targeted as a new well field for Los Angeles, looking at the amount of production wells included within this package. So with that, thank you for your time and the ability to be able to speak before this board. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was the last card for this item.
Oh, I thought there was one more.
They can't speak. They have
Okay.
to leave, I think.
So do we have a presentation?
Yeah, I can speak to it. I don't know if Reggie has slides, but he can throw them up. Until he does, we've got, there you go. So basically this is an as-needed construction contract. So it's not necessarily tied to any specific project. It's when projects are available that we have those resources available to us to sink wells. We're not developing any additional imported water. Our long-term water resources portfolio basically is trying to maintain the average level of water that we've imported from the Eastern Sierra. So there's no additional imported water that we have planned in any of our plants. This is just basically part of the infrastructure reliability program that we have throughout the water system, and this is directed at in the Owens Valley and the Mono Basin. It provides for up to 14 production wells and 18 monitoring wells to be constructed. Again, it's just as needed when projects are developed. Any projects that are developed will be done in conjunction with the long-term water agreement. So we just can't go off and do whatever we want. We're confined by our agreement with that. The only thing that we've got scheduled up front is developing water resources underneath Owens Lake, and that's being done in conjunction with a great number of stakeholders, including Inyo County and the landowner, the state of California. So there's a really great program that we've been undertaking to do a study of the available water underneath the Owens Lake, and so the initial use of this contract will just be for monitoring wells, so we can do a test and see how much water resources are available under there. But outside of that, it's basically if we've got an existing well that fails because of age or any other reason, then this is just a contract to be able to go out there and replace that well.
Any discussion? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Commissioner Funderburk, you need to recuse yourself. Is there a resolution authorizing travel of Board Vice President William Funderburk to Bonn, Germany from November 10th to 15th to represent the department and the Board of Water and the department and the board at the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Aye.
Can you add an addendum so I can join him and join
Not on the Brown Act, so.
Forever negotiators. I'm flying out with you to Germany.
You're welcome to go.
Christina's going with you. Council, anything need to be said besides we're adjourning?
No, sir, you just said it.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.